Welcome to No Facts Needed, and today we're going to be talking about the Atlanta Falcons. Let's start off. We have them ranked as the 18th team in the NFL. My record prediction is 7-9. What is yours?
9-7, but not in the playoffs though.
So Vegas has them at a solid 7.5 wins. Last 2 years, they went 7-9. So I have them on a three-peat.
Bold prediction.
I have them going on a three-peat, baby. Let's talk about their own schedule. They're in the hardest division right now. They play the Bucs, Saints, and Panthers. That's 6 losses right there. And then they also play the NFC North, which is pretty rough. I mean, they play the Packers and the Vikings, and the Lions and Bears are going to be kind of tough too. And then they also play the AFC West, which is they got to play the Chiefs. That's an automatic loss. And if you believe in the Chargers, Raiders, and Broncos, that could be hard. And then they also play the Hawks and the Cowboys, which are going to be hard games also. So, thoughts? Really hard schedule. Not a lot of wins right there. Let's talk about their offseason, who they got. They got a total ball hawk in A.J. Terrell. They got Marlon Davidson, Matt Hennessy. So who they got on the offseason acquisitions? They got Tyler Davison, Hayden Hurst, Dante Fowler, Todd Gurley, Laquan Treadwell, and then Charles Harris, who... I mean, if you didn't know, he was a first-round pick a couple years ago. Who they lost? They lost Desmond Trufant, who got like 6 interceptions last year. Devontae Freeman, Vic Beasley, Austin Hooper, Devondre Campbell, Wes Schneitzer, and Adrian Claiborne.
Basically, if you played for them when they won the Super Bowl, and your name's not Matt or Julio,
you're out of here.
Go away.
Thoughts? With who all they lost, I think they actually did kind of good, because they lost a lot of people, and they should be horrible. Let's talk about the position, starting with Matt Ryan. He hasn't thrown for less than 4,000 yards in the last 10 years. He can make every throw, and he does it throughout the game. He needs a clean pocket, and he needs to make better decisions, but he's a pretty good quarterback. I graded him as an A-. Move on to running back. They got half-a-knee Todd Gurley, was once a top 3 back in the league to a huge question mark. We all know about the injury stuff. We don't need to talk about it. He didn't get 1,000 yards last year, and he averaged 3.8 yards per carry. And last year was kind of bad for him, but I honestly think he can bounce back. I really do. I think he's one of those backs that can he gets hot once the game gets going, and once he gets over like 20 carries, that's when he starts hitting that hole, and he starts making people his children. Do I think he's going to go back to where he was when he was an offensive player of the year candidate? No. But do I think he's going to be like a Devontae Freeman type, kind of replace him? Yeah, I think he can do that. I mean, he's great at catching out of the backfield, and he's a great running back. The only real question is his knee, and if it can hold up and if it'll hold him back.
Here's the thing. The knee's gone.
Yeah.
Okay? He's just not the same.
Okay.
I hate to break this to you. He doesn't have the burst anymore, man.
Okay.
He ain't got it. Side note, Ito Smith. Yeah. Good.
I graded them as B. Let's talk about some wide receivers. You talk about Julio.
Listen, if I hear one more person try to tell me that Michael Thomas is the best receiver in the league, I'm going to jump off of a building, okay? There is no way that Michael Thomas is better than Julio Jones. It's not. There's no possible way, okay? There's literally, I don't think there's one thing that Michael Thomas does better than Julio. I don't want to hear it anymore. I don't care how old he is. How much longer do we have to do this, all right? The dude is an animal, all right? So...
I agree. I personally think it's Hopkins, but that's another discussion. I think we can move on to Calvin Ridley. He is going to be he's a pretty good so far, and I think he's going to be able to take the torch from Julio. Only has started 15 games so far, but in those 15 games, he's had highlights,
Yeah.
Some others, no one. Honestly, they have Russell Gage and Laquan Treadwell. But that being said, I still graded them as a solid A because Julio is a beast and Calvin Ridley is a super good number 2 guy. Move on to tight end. So they have Hayden Hurst, and most people don't know who he is because he's a big old fat bust. First round pick a couple years ago, but has been overshadowed by 2 guys. Max Williams, who was the tight end drafted before him, so they kind of like let him. And then right after Hayden Hurst was drafted, they drafted Mark Andrews. So he was smushed in between 2 first-round picks that were probably a little bit better than him. But now he can step into this Austin Hooper role, and maybe he has something to like give to this team. Do I think he can turn his career around? Yes. Do I think he will? No. I graded this position as a C. Okay, let's move on to O-line.
So they got worse last year. There's no way around it. They used to be a pretty solid unit, especially like when they went to the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. But now they're kind of a shell of themselves. Okay, so their starters are going to probably be Matthews, Carpenter, and Mack. Okay, 3 vets know what they're doing, and then Lidstrom and McGarry. They're 2 first-round picks. Matthews is getting old, and he's not as good as he used to be. Mack is still a really good center, even though he is the oldest one. Carpenter, just a role player more or less, probably pretty replaceable, but not a major disadvantage there. And then Lidstrom and McGarry, they were both overdrafted, if we're going to be honest here, and they need to get their crap together before they turn into busts. But they were first-round picks for a reason. It doesn't mean that they have no talent. So, I mean, it's going to rely a lot on those guys if they can actually produce and protect Matt Ryan. This offense might be pretty fun, you know?
So, I graded them as a B. Let's move on to defense, which is going to be sad. Let's just be honest. We can start with their D-line. Tack McKinley hasn't been great. 3.5 sacks last year.
Hasn't been great. He really hasn't been good.
They have Grady Jarrett, a D tackle that can actually rush the passer, which is kind of rare. 7.5 sacks last year. Kind of smaller guy, but is super fast off the line. And then Tyler Davidson is just a big old space eater. I don't want to talk about him.
Yeah. And
then Alan Bailey is only there because they need 11 players on the field. I graded this D-line as a C.
They do have Dante Fowler, though. He's probably best suited as a number 2.
Moved to linebackers.
But, yeah, he's probably, honestly, he's going to be their number 1 if we're being honest.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And then, so you got him, got McKinley, and then you got Charles Harris.
Yeah.
Kind of 3 guys who are disappointments, honestly.
Big old disappointments.
But, I mean, they could come together and actually do something. They've got athleticism on their side, but
I do want to throw out Fowler has been a disappointment with the Jags, but with the Rams, he actually had 11.5 sacks. Yeah. Let's move on to some other linebackers. Dion Jones, one of the best pass coverage linebackers in the league. So I graded them as a B+, just because Dion Jones and Dante Fowler are actually pretty good linebackers. Let's move on to the secondary.
It's really okay.
Yeah.
But that's about it. So they let go of Trufant. He's getting up there in age, so I kind of understand that. Mm-hmm. But they bring in AJ Terrell, who's a big, long body guy from Clemson.
Yeah.
And then they're also probably going to go with Kendall Sheffield and Isaiah Oliver as their starting corners. And then at the safety positions, they have DeMonte Kazee and Keanu Neal, and they also have Ricardo Allen, who could play corner or safety.
Yeah.
So they have a bunch of these guys who are really solid, but no one really who's like a number 1 or who's like probably going to be like a Pro Bowl or All-Pro consideration.
Yeah. DeMonte Kazee has had 10 interceptions in the last 2 years. Pretty good, I guess. Keanu Neal, he has been good, but he's played like a total of 2 games in the last 2 years. So as long as he plays, that should be good. And then Isaiah Oliver, he's been all right so far, but I personally like him. Coming out of Purdue, I was a big fan of him throughout the draft process. So hopefully he can step up into that number 1 role where Trufant was. And then AJ Terrell, another first-round pick guy who might actually do something as a rookie. I graded them as a B+. Where do you think this team, like ability-wise, to go? How far do you think this team can go?
I think they can make the playoffs.
I think they're a playoff team.
I think they have like the continuity, with their coach and most of their players. I could see them squeezing into the playoffs.
Let's talk about some pros. Matty Ice and freaking Julio Jones are going to win games no matter what. That's just like straight up, they're going to win games. Well, there's been no vaccinated. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know down below what is your record prediction. Listen to us on Apple and Spotify, and follow us on all social media platforms. Thanks for watching, and see you guys next time.